Derrick Henry landing in Baltimore to me is one of the bigger, I think as long as he's staying healthy, which is obviously a concern at his age, just one of the more slam dunk moves that we're going to see instant payoff on the field. And I'm pretty sure that Rich agrees here. But like, I start with just the philosophy of the offense. The Tennessee Titans offense was one of the most run heavy offenses in the NFL. And they ran almost no matter what. They would run almost all the time after a first down and completion, just because they didn't want to go past punt. So they would always go to a 2nd and 10 run play, which is obviously stupid. And we also saw them run a ton on first downs as well. So they were always one of the most run heavy teams in the NFL for the last several years. And as a result of being very run heavy, they were very predictable. And as a result of being predictable, defenses would stack the box because they don't really respect the quarterback that much. They don't really respect the receivers. And the offense is telling you by looking at the tendencies that we're going to be running the ball a lot here. And so Derrick Henry had the number one highest rate over the last 4 years of loaded boxes. 88% of his runs, all runs, were against 7+ man boxes. 53% of his runs were against 8+ man boxes. You look at like short yardage situations, third down runs particularly. 94% of his runs on third down came up against loaded boxes. And yet, despite basically doing nothing but facing loaded boxes over the last 4 years, number one in success rate, number one in first down rate, number two in EPA per rush. Derrick Henry was a beast behind an offensive line that is not as good as what Baltimore's offensive line is. Now, Baltimore does have, Rich wrote up this on the website, so you guys should go check out his analysis over at Sharp Football Analysis, all the moving pieces that are occurring on the Baltimore Ravens offensive line. There were some injuries last year. They lost some guys. Some guys are still on the free agent block. So there are guys that they're going to need to replace. I was on Baltimore radio yesterday talking to them a little bit about the situation here, and they were the ones who brought up that the offensive line needs to have some assistance. But in addition to the fact that I think Derrick Henry is going to get less, so let's talk about the implications of he faced a ton of loaded boxes and a very run-heavy offense last year. Baltimore is much more progressive. They throw the ball a lot more. They have a quarterback that's going to be respected. And as a result, Derrick Henry is going to be running more frequently into lighter boxes. This is where the defense is going to have to pick their poison. We're getting run on by Derrick Henry because we aren't loading the box. So now let's load the box. Well, last season, when Lamar Jackson passed the ball against a 7+ man box, number one in EPA per attempt, number one in success rate, number 3 completion rate, yards per attempt, first down rate. He was among the top 4 in the NFL in every single one of these statistics against a loaded box. And this offense was not dinking and dunking, trying to get it out of his hands very quickly against a loaded box. Against a loaded box, he was number 4 in air yards per attempt, number 1 in rate of passes that gained 10+ yards. They were pushing the ball down the field when they were facing loaded boxes. So I just think it's a great situation. Defenses are going to really be at their wits' end trying to figure out, do we try to get Derrick Henry out of the way? Do we try to play back and get and stop these deep passes from going overhead? Is going to give a lot of options. And I think it helps prolong Derrick Henry a little bit. He doesn't have to carry the load so much because they're passing the football a little bit more. And as a result of that, he hopefully will be a little bit healthier till later in the season, and hopefully for the Ravens deeper into the playoffs. So you got that going for Derrick Henry as he's getting older. And then also it might help Lamar Jackson a little bit because Derrick Henry is just such a slam dunk on some of these runs on third down or short yardage or near the goal line that, like, instead of forcing Lamar to have to like scramble and be creative, maybe they do hand the ball a little bit more off to Derrick Henry to just pound it in and save some collisions from Lamar Jackson. I just think it works so well for the Ravens on a variety of different levels.